Hello everyone, my name is Michelle and this is my channel where I document my journey with stage 4 triple negative breast cancer and adrenal insufficiency, which I acquired with immunotherapy, Keytruda, and life in general. And today's video is going to be a little bit about everything. So this weekend was my 3-year Cancerversary, which is the anniversary of the date of diagnosis, my original diagnosis. So 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. It was I had two tumors, actually, an invasive ductal carcinoma and a ductal carcinoma in situ in my left breast, as well as 2 initial positive lymph nodes in my left axilla or armpit. And so that was where our journey started, July 18th, 2023. And I went through the standard of care treatments, had, 20 weeks of traditional chemotherapy with immunotherapy, but I only had 5 infusions of the Keytruda, and that's when it shut down my adrenal function, and that's when I stopped the Keytruda, continued with the chemo, had surgery, radiation, some oral chemo, because at my initial surgery, I had some residual cancer cells in 3 out of the 9 lymph nodes that they removed from my axilla, as well as the ductal carcinoma in situ, the contained tumor, also had some residual cancer cells in it. So I did have a residual cancer burden. I did some oral chemo after radiation, Xeloda. I did not finish that. I stopped due to side effects that were pretty intrusive, including like a really negative attitude, which isn't me. But I was cancer free for, no evidence of disease, they call it NED, for 2 years. And then this past January, I was diagnosed. The additional investigation happened because of my regular MRI, breast MRI. And that happens after you have breast cancer. They send you for an MRI and a mammogram, one or the other, every 6 months, and you alternate. And my standard MRI initially came out clean, but then I went to investigate a new lump, which ended up being just some fat necrosis that was calcifying in my other breast, which I did have reconstructive surgery on the other breast, so I had symmetry surgery. And when they investigated that, they called up the MRI, and there was something spotted on the part of my liver that was visible in that MRI and a biopsy, and it confirmed that I had triple negative breast cancer in my liver. And then the PET scan subsequently also found it in my spine. So that was kind of the journey to get us to here. In February of 2026, I started Trodelvy, which was our first line treating stage 4 cancer. So while last year on my Cancerversary, my 2-year anniversary, I was celebrating 2 years cancer-free, because that's the date they use. It's always the date of diagnosis. If you hear about people saying they're 2 years out, that's usually from the date of diagnosis. Now, some of us patients will use our surgery date or the date that we finish all treatments as the kind of the starting mark. But for statistical purposes, the cancer research and doctors and hospitals, they all use the date of diagnosis as your starting point. And once you're diagnosed, when you're a year out or 2 years out, they call that 2 years cancer-free. And so this year is 3 years out from that original date of diagnosis. And now I'm in stage 4, which is a really weird place to be, because once you're stage 4, they say there is no cure. You can have remission. You can have no evidence of disease or no evidence of active disease. There's lots of different terms that they put, but you will always be in some form of treatment and or monitoring forever, for the rest of your life. The way that my oncologist kind of put it is that I will be in a treatment as long as it works, and then we will move to the next treatment, and we'll be in that treatment for as long as it works, and then we will be in the next treatment. And so this can go on for many years. That's kind of where we're at. Treatment has no end. There's no cure. For me, the Trodelvy is working. My PET scan a couple weeks ago showed that it was everything was either stable or resolved. There was not any metabolic activity in my liver, which means the tumors are either not active or they're not there anymore. They shrunk. So that's really good news. And as far as the spine, they could not visualize the full spine because my bone marrow was replenishing my immune system from the last treatment. So, they didn't see anything, but they can't say there's nothing there because the bone marrow was obscuring the bones. So that's where we're at right now as far as treatment wise. And so I kind of want to talk a little bit about what the goals are now. And so I've gone to an every other week treatment schedule, which I am hoping will actually reduce my side effects enough that I can really start to focus more on rebuilding my body and my stamina and my muscle mass. I lost a ton of my muscle mass while I gained a bunch of weight on steroids. And I have to stay on the steroids because without them, I will die. With adrenal insufficiency, I do not make my own cortisol. This is a permanent side effect of Keytruda. It's permanently damaged my pituitary gland, which does not release ACTH, which does not tell my adrenal glands to release cortisol. And I know you hear a lot of stuff about cortisol out in the world, but you need cortisol for every system of your body to function. Every organ in your body needs cortisol. You need more cortisol, any stress you have, whether it's physical or emotional or a really hot day or just a really active day, your body does produce more cortisol. Well, mine doesn't. I have to do that manually, and I have to do that by taking oral corticosteroids. So that's the life with adrenal insufficiency. And I have to take those steroids to kind of replace that cortisol manually. And that is what it is. With that comes some weight gain. But as I've lost muscle mass and gained some weight, I get even more tired more quickly. And then, you get to a point where I need more steroids in order to compensate for the extra effort that it takes me to do exercise. And so part of what I'm hoping is that with less side effects from chemo, not knocking me out for 2 weeks every month, then I could focus more on rebuilding my stamina and my strength and some muscle and my body, focusing on, getting rid of the lymphedema as well. I've been, that my arm swells up with every chemo treatment as well. And then, my physical therapist and massage therapist are working to kind of reduce that swelling in between. But, if we have less inflammation with each chemo treatment, we can rebuild a little bit and start living again, instead of just kind of getting through. So the initial phase of this stage 4 treatment was, pretty daunting in that, 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and then, had 1 week on, 1 week off because the first treatment I had neutropenia the second week. And then I had 2 weeks on and a very long hospital stay with a skin infection. And then I had 2 weeks on and colitis. And then I had 2 weeks on, 1 week off, 1 week on, and 1 week off, 1 week on. And I did pretty good that month. And so 2 weeks on, 1 week off, had really bad side effects again. It didn't end up in the hospital that time, which was great, but it was a good 6 days of really intense GI side effects that last round. So I'm hoping with the 1 week on, 1 week off, the side effects will be less and we can move on into the next phase of this stage 4 treatment, which, will still give me the same amount of medicine because I will be having the same amount of treatments. They're just spaced out a little bit more and I can avoid that Neulasta, which I really do. I just feel like that had something to do with how intense those side effects got. So now I just want to talk a little bit about kind of how I kind of keep focus on what's important. And so I have, I don't even want to call it a belief system. I have some things that I know, things that I've known for a long time, things that you know too, but you might have forgotten. And so I just want to talk a little bit about why we're here and what we're supposed to learn. And so focusing on living. It's really easy when you have cancer to get stuck in a pity party and think, oh my gosh, I have terminal cancer. because that's what they tell you when you're stage 4. They tell you you're terminal. There's no cure. This is probably going to kill you someday. We don't know when. Which is scary and daunting, and it's also okay, because just because you know the name of the Grim Reaper doesn't mean that it makes it any less or more real, because something's going to take all of us. Life is 100% fatal. But here's some things that I know. If you focus on what's important, and you kind of look around and see the world and experience the world, you get to choose how to do that. So the first thing that I know is that we choose to come here. I believe that we choose to experience the challenges that we face. Cancer and adrenal insufficiency, that's the chapter I'm on right now. Being out of work and broke and having college for 2 kids to pay for and groceries, that's my reality right now, and have to learn how to deal with those challenges. I watched a video on Maya Bialik's YouTube channel recently that called it Earth School, that we come here to learn things. And I like that term, but I also like to think of it more as an adventure, or like an amusement park, a theme park with thrilling roller coasters. We go to those theme parks and scare ourselves on purpose. This isn't any different. So that's kind of how I like to view life. It's like when things start to feel really scary, just kind of think of it like a thrill ride or a scary movie. If you like scary movies, I don't like scary movies, but that is a way that you can kind of view it and reframe it in your mind so that you can laugh at it, really. One of the things that I do on a regular basis, maybe not every single morning, but almost every morning, is when I wake up pretty much with the sunrise and I go out. It's usually before my alarm goes off. It's just when I happen to wake up now, which I never was a morning person until very recently, but now I am. And I go outside with my bare feet, and I put my bare feet in the grass, and I go and I put my hand on my little tree out front, and I stretch and I face the sunrise, and I try to get the first little bits of light in my eyes from the sun. And I do this before I even look at my phone or anything. I do many things before it's probably about an hour and a half before I actually pick up my phone and look at it. And so I connect with nature. Nature's divine. And when you just kind of plant your feet in the grass, even if you just close your eyes, I'll put my hands in the grass too, and you just kind of connect with the earth. And there's something electric about it. There's a frequency that resets my body. And sometimes I'll come in and then do like a detox, like a foot soak, or a mask, a detox mask, especially if I'm on a chemo week. And that can also help just kind of cleanse my body. The foot soak after being outside, I just find that very relaxing in the morning. And so I will do that almost every morning. So here I am at 6 o'clock in the morning with my bare feet in the grass outside, just doing some very basic stretches. There's no particular order that I do things, just kind of stretching what I feel needs to be stretched and loosened up in the morning. And then I'll end it here, just kind of looking at the sunrise. And here I am preparing my little foot soak, put some bath salt in the thing and some hot water. Just relax until the water gets cold. Also disconnecting. So while you're connecting with nature and the people around you, like people that are in front of you, disconnecting from the fake illusion or the screen or the technology, put the screen down. Now, that's easy to say, but it's much harder to actually like consciously make that effort. So I found, like, for a long time, I would say, I have to stop doing this. I have to stop looking at my phone. I have to stop doing. And then I decided to make it just situational. So I probably a few months ago stopped looking at my phone stopped bringing my phone to the dinner table. So I do not have a phone in front of me when I'm eating. Even if we go out and I have it with me, I try to either put it in my pocket or put it face down on the table. Unless like my kids are somewhere else, I'll keep it there in case they call or message me, but I don't look at I try, really to disconnect from the technology when I'm eating a meal with somebody. After sundown, when it gets dark outside or when it gets late, we're sitting down to relax and, my husband and I are sitting to watch TV or something. I actually have a setup on my phone where I could block the blue light. I don't remember how I did this, but you can look it up, and I tap the back of my phone and it turns the screen red. It takes out the blue light. It filters out the blue light. So when the sun goes down, with the TV, I'll still get some blue light, but I do stop. I try to not, if I have to look at my phone, it's through a red filter, so that I'm not getting that blue light directly in my eyes. And I think I sleep better because of that as well. Putting the phone away situationally, it helps you to lessen the time that you're on the screen. And I think that that's helped. So you're connecting more with nature and the people in front of you, and disconnecting a little bit from the fake reality that is brought to your attention through your screen every day. The next thing that I know, and that you know too, is that fear is a lie. It's an illusion. I think the Bible has, the King James Version of the Bible says 365 times to be not afraid. And other ancient texts also tell you to not be afraid. When I get scared, especially, again, terminal cancer, no money. These are scary things. Feel it, experience it, and then let the fear part go. It'll work out. It will work out. It always does. It always has in the past. Focus on something that feels better. If you're scared about something, turn your attention to something, anything. Look around the room. My dog is sleeping here dreaming, and she's so cute, and she's 13 years old, and she still dreams and barks like a little puppy when she dreams, and it's adorable. If I look outside, today's a rainy day, I have a beautiful tree in the front. There's often some birds just fluttering and playing in the tree, and that's something I can watch. It can hold my attention for just a few seconds and take that fear down. And that is super important, to be able to just kind of focus on something that it doesn't have to feel great. You don't have to be like, oh, everything's going to be wonderful. That's a really big leap. But just from, this is really scary and I have no idea how I'm going to get through this, to it's going to be okay. And, oh, look at the bird and the tree. Oh, they're chasing each other. It's so fun. Just focus on, let it hold your attention for a little bit. And that brings me to the next thing I know, is you create the reality you experience. Again, I can sit in the fact that I have cancer, but I can look at the birds. And that is really helpful to reset your attention. Sometimes just going to the beach. I live not very far from a beach, and I can go and sit there and just watch the waves. And I can watch the sunrise or the sunset, depending on what time of day it is, or just watch kids playing in the water. And it is a better feeling than sitting there being scared. And so let that hold your attention. You see more of what you focus your attention on. You are not your thoughts, and your thoughts lie to you. This is the next thing I know. They tell you that you're not enough. This is ego. Once you recognize this, you can choose a different thought, and you are enough. You've always been enough, and you're not alone. And finally, we are all connected to each other and to the divine, to God, to source, to the universe, whatever you want to call it. We're all connected. You're not alone. These are the things I know, and I've always known them, at least as far back as I can remember. And this gives me comfort and allows me to live a life without wallowing. And isn't that what we all want? So I'll leave you with that. This is my gift to you today on my 3-year Cancerversary.